Beverly Williams with the Jeff Horrocks team, Developing Identities, and Keller Williams. Today we're bringing to you a brand new community video. This is at Boardroom Spirits in Lansdale, right by the train station and by the water tower. This is an amazing business that's only been operating since 2016, but they have grown at a phenomenal rate. Come on in, let me show you what it's all about. Murat, thank you for letting us come interview you today at Boardroom Spirits. I think that you have an amazing place here. And I've watched it from the taste room, which was small. In 2016, you opened. I was not personally aware of you at that point, except for it seemed that every time I turned around, I was bumping into Boardroom Spirits. I was like, who is Boardroom Spirits? I was part of the Lansdale Chamber of Commerce with the women's group. We had a couple events at Normandy. You were there. Yes. You won the Young Entrepreneurial Award for the borough, for Lansdale Borough with Discover Lansdale. And I mean, I'm just watching you with this explosive growth. And then you describe yourself as 3 road warriors that were sent out to bring innovation to the distillery process, blending European and American innovation. Tell me about yourselves. Tell me how this started.
Thanks, Beth. Welcome.
Thank you.
You enjoying the DeLorean?
I am. It's amazing.
So the inspiration for the distillery, which was started by my wife, Zhuzha, my brother, Vlad, and myself, was around, creating an experience where customers can truly get behind and trust the brand. Mm-hmm. And for us, that revolved around creating high quality products, using real ingredients, so a produce-based approach to alcohol versus using artificial flavors, food coloring, sweeteners, filler, right? Mm-hmm. Flavor without the filler is kind of our philosophy. We also, wanted to be innovative, and innovation kind of comes in 2 forms. One is creating brand new products, which is more difficult, which we've done with our beet and carrot spirits. But it's also taking an existing category and shifting it to changing consumer preferences, which is what we've done with our fresh line of real flavored vodkas. No artificial flavors, no sweeteners, no juices, concentrates, or oils. And the shift that you kind of see in consumer behavior is, people want to know what's in their food. People want to know what's in their beer, or how their wine's produced. 90% of folks that walk through our doors don't know spirits very well. It's kind of what's been marketed. And we really want to change that with transparency, but also education. So that was kind of the inspiration behind starting the distillery. Once we kind of fully committed to the decision of creating our own distillery, we had to overcome a little problem, which was none of us actually knew how to distill.
That's a problem.
It is. It's like opening up a restaurant without knowing how to cook. So for us, to get around that lack of knowledge, and where we blend European traditions with American ingenuity is, we actually went over to Europe, to Hungary specifically, to do about 1.5 years of R&D, recipe development. The reason we went to Hungary, my wife's European, but that's not really the reason, is Hungary is one of few countries in the world where you can legally distill your own alcohol. It is illegal to distill alcohol for personal consumption in the US. You can make your own beer, you can make your own wine, and there's a lot of home brewers, a lot of home winemakers, but you can't take it to the next level and distill spirits.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
It can be dangerous. We work under a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, so if you don't have the right safety mechanisms in place, stills can blow up. It can be hazardous if you don't know what you're doing from a chemical separation. That's where you hear about people getting sick, potentially going blind.
That's
but really,
serious.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. It can happen. But really, we pay a lot of federal taxes, and that's one of the main reasons it is illegal, because that's considered moonshining.
Okay.
It's any alcohol made illegally without taxes paid. But in Hungary and also New Zealand, you can do it legally for personal consumption. So as a result, they actually have master's and PhD level programs in fermentation and distillation sciences. So you can become a doctor of alcohol if you get your PhD in Hungary. So that's why we worked with a handful of just very smart people that understand how the chemistry and the science of distilled spirit works. There's some art involved, but it's a lot of science. And we do have a full-time distiller who we've been very fortunate to find, Tim Mokes. He's a former brewer, former baker, so brings a lot of great sensory to the table that allows us to create clean alcohol, but also very aromatic and flavorful.
Right. And I've been amazed to watch you. So when I first started seeing you, you came in the taste room, then you developed this venue, which is phenomenal all by itself. Then your partnership with Northbound Restaurant
Yep.
that was just renovated in Souderton.
Yes.
You have a kiosk down at the Reading Terminal, the second vendor
Yes.
of spirits and liquor that's down there. That's just amazing. My mom went down there as a child,
Good.
at the Reading Terminal. It was all farmers. But if you go down there now, just the vast array of things that you can buy is wonderful. And I'm shocked and elated as a person that is also self-employed at your growth. It's a phenomenal rate. Did you see this happening when you started? Was this part of your vision? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's funny. I usually tell folks we're on like Plan W at this point because as a small business owner, you have
Sure.
to be nimble and flexible and really open to the changing environment. So what we fortunately have here, and we set up shop here in Lansdale, is a great community. The folks that come and patronize
is.
our tasting room or buy our products on the shelves, they're our best marketing vehicle because they're truly passionate and get behind the brand. So community is a huge aspect of what's helped the growth. You can have great product, great marketing, great pricing, but if you don't have the support of your community, it's
Right.
very difficult to succeed. And we've been very fortunate, honestly, to have great people working for us, which is very fundamental to our business because this is a tasting room. Yeah, of course we serve alcoholic beverages, but our bartenders, our staff, they're very educated and they can speak intelligently to what you're drinking, why you're drinking it, what you're experiencing in the flavors. So, it's been nice having those aspects because that has helped us, fuel the growth locally. But as we grow in distribution, that's always going to be another fun nut to crack because if we're distributing in Florida,
Right.
you can't come to the tasting, you can't get this
Right.
experience down there.
Right.
So, but we're growing. Growth presents its challenges and rewards.
Sure it does.
But it's also fun. I mean,
Yeah,
at the
it
end
is.
of the day, if we have the right people working for us, a great community, we're looking forward to doing a lot more in Lansdale. Tasting room, the expansion is kind of just the beginning of what's to come.
Right.
So.
Tell me about the things that are coming. I know some things that may be a secret, but you have a lot coming up. You have a lot on the table. Your imagination and where you're going to carry it as far as experiences is huge. Tell me what you can share at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of projects coming up over the next couple of years because when we started the distillery, and I remember even the meetings back with the Borough Council, our whole goal was to bring people to Lansdale, get people
Yes.
to stay in Lansdale and
Sure.
go explore the many great businesses that we have here. That's why we offer free tours on
Right.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday because we want people to come to the distillery.
That's
We also-
good to know,
Yep.
by the way.
We also run Groupon as well, which provides
Okay.
other venues. But the nice thing about that is on a weekly basis, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we get about 30 to 40 new visitors to the area that can then go explore the other business. Again, kind of the community building aspect
Sure.
of it. So to make Lansdale more of a destination, we want to redo some things that, makes the building really aesthetically pleasing because
Right.
we want to kind of have this transformative experience where people come to the distillery, which is located in an industrial park, and we want them
Yes.
to forget that they're in an industrial park, kind of. So with that, the tasting room's the beginning. For the spring, summer, we plan on opening up a patio and redo some of our facade. We
Okay.
do have pretty cool opening facade for the door, reusing and repurposing a lot of
Right.
material.
I love that. I love that
And
you're doing
it's huge because when we build our barrel racks out of, that red oak we're reusing to do pieces of the exterior. The barrels that were used for the bourbon or the rye, those staves are being reused to
Right.
for the exterior. We're working with the Perkium and Watershed to bring in some natural vegetation, really
Okay.
focus on green
Right.
plants and just natural evergreen types of growths. But at the same time, we also want to grow our own produce. So something we've discussed was, hey, can we do a little greenhouse because there's a little opening between the two buildings that
Right.
presents it, which can serve as a great educational place, but also
Absolutely.
grow our own mint, grow
Yeah.
our own botanicals, and kind of have garden-inspired
Right.
cocktails.
Yeah.
Which it's just those little
It's
subtle
fun.
touches. It's fun. It's educational.
Right.
And it really, I think nowadays people want to learn more about, like I said, what they're eating, what they're drinking. here's how it grows outside. Go take a look for
No,
yourself.
I think it's great. It's kind of farm to table in a different
drink.
light.
That's true.
Now, the Discover Lansdale
Yes.
has been huge. I was part
Absolutely.
of that program. You're right by the train station. You're right by the water tower. You have all this growth coming around you. Did you know or foresee that happening when you chose Lansdale?
We had an idea, and I think Lansdale, the nice thing about this area and this community is it's poised to take off. 3.1 square miles, almost 16,000 people. So it's pretty densely populated, but the fact that there's more investment really shows that, I think Lansdale's on a great path. One thing I always like to tell folks is name another town other than Philadelphia that has 3 train stations in town, right? We have that here.
Right.
So the infrastructure's there, and of course, it's always easy to open up a storefront in a high volume place and just be part of it. But I think being a part of a growing community is more rewarding because you're part of that growth versus just kind of stepping in and being part of the system. So we kind of foresaw this coming, but at the same time, like I said, we're on Plan W, so things change and evolve and shift. Delays always happen, but it's really a great time to be in Lansdale.
Yeah. You guys opened 2016.
Yes.
This is the beginning of 2019. February will be your 3 years.
Yes, 3 years.
Wow. Wow, this has been amazing.
That was me 20 pounds ago.
I love what you've done here.
Thank you.
I like the staff that you have. I like your ideas. I like your innovation. I like the fact that you're poised for growth. I grew up in Lansdale and it has come a long way. It had a slow period. You're kind of wondering what was going to happen. But the new businesses that have come in, the coffee shops, you guys being here, the new business being birthed back into Lansdale, the growth, the train station, the building all around us.
Absolutely.
The real estate market is still huge. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to have a business, and I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you very much. It's funny. You see a house pops up on the market in Lansdale, it's usually gone.
Oh, I know.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's a great place to live, a great place to work, and so glad that you're here.
Thank you very much for visiting.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
So my role is to train the staff on a much more high volume, high end, high concept cocktail program than what they've run previously in our smaller tasting room, as well as develop a new cocktail menu, not only with the old spirits, but with new spirits that'll come out in the future, as well as just kind of general management of the entire bar. So staffing levels, events, and just general coordination of anything that's gonna happen in this space.
Wonderful. Tell me about what you serve. What are your specialties? What makes you unique?
Well, so I've spent the last better part of a decade in Boston working in high-end, high-volume craft cocktail bars. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to layer flavors. Well, so the first cocktail I'm gonna actually make for you is our Mai Tai. Most people, when they think of a Mai Tai, it's 16 juices, 3 different syrups. It could be any color under the sun. The original Mai Tai, though, is actually just 5 ingredients. It's a white rum, a spiced rum, or a dark rum. We're using our spiced rum, orgeat, which is an almond-based simple syrup, lime juice, and some kind of orange liqueur. So in our case, again, we're using our triple sec. So what that does is you have the white rum, which is gonna be smoother, cleaner, and then you add the dark rum, which will, if you're doing a dark rum, a dark aged rum, you're gonna add flavors of barrel and caramel and, these earthier notes. For us, we're using our spiced rum, which is obviously gonna add a lot of baking spice notes to it. And so you're mixing the two as opposed to only using one rum. So for ours, we're actually already doing it as a batch just because what I found was the perfect ratio does not easily fit into one of the measurements on my jiggers. So to make it easy for the bartenders, we already have it batched out, but it is equal parts of our triple sec, our spiced rum, and our white rum. And that's just already right here. It's also really good by itself, just without adding the sugar or the lime juice. And then it's gonna be 3/4 ounces of fresh squeezed lime juice that our wonderful barback Kane does for us every week before we get started. And it just speeds up the whole process. And then a homemade orgeat. You always want to do the homemade orgeats as opposed to store-bought. There's just a lot more depth of flavor and complexity to it. So with the orgeat, what we're actually doing is we're toasting the almonds to order for every batch of orgeat we're making. So we're buying them blanched and raw. and then we're finishing them off. We turn that into a simple syrup, let it sit for at least 24 hours. What that does is that allows the sugars to pull out the oils and proteins from the almonds, which adds this really great velvety texture. And then we finish it off with a little bit of almond extract, some orange blossom water, and just a little bit of fresh orange oil on top.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that the process would have been that complicated.
I mean, and you can make it a lot simpler, but then you end up with a lot simpler of a flavor in your final drink. So much like the owners, I like to also kind of go a little above and beyond and just really make things super complex and tasty and fun. And then, again, classic, everyone expects to see it in a tiki mug. The original Mai Tai was actually served in a big bucket glass like this with mint as a garnish, not a papery parasol. But so, the Mai Tai.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow. I like smelling the mint when I'm drinking it.
And that really does actually augment the flavor. Without the mint, you're not getting the same drink. So,
That's really good.
thank you. I just love garnishes that actually do something, and most of your sense of taste actually comes from smell. So it's a completely different drink without that mint in it.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Show me what else you have.
So the next drink we're gonna do is the knee buckler, which has quickly become our second most popular cocktail after our Boardroom Mule, which is our play on a Moscow Mule. So this one is another equal parts cocktail that I just think works really, really well, especially with our spirits. So again, with the lime juice. So it's gonna be an ounce of lime juice. A honey simple syrup. The difference between a honey simple syrup and just straight honey is you want to water it down a little bit just so it's not as viscous and you can actually pour and measure it easily. An ounce of the Northbound spiced rum. An ounce of the Northbound rye.
Fresh ginger.
And then an ounce of our fresh ginger vodka.
Now, most of the ingredients with the spirits can be purchased here as well.
Correct.
As you can drink it here, you can also purchase the bottle.
Exactly. So we sell all of our different bottles. So, and I'm more than happy to give anyone the recipe. I believe if you make a drink too easy that you don't want to give out the recipe, you're not doing something right.
Okay, it's a good philosophy.
And then this is a pretty flavorful drink, so I like to use the ice that I shook it with, so it adds a little bit of almost a crushed ice effect and just helps kind of water it down a little bit faster as you drink it.
This was called the knee buckler.
The
right?
knee buckler, yeah, so it's a blend of a Kentucky buck and a bee's knees. So two classics that a lot of people have never heard of
Right.
in beautiful harmony.
Okay.
So the knee buckler.
I like that. I'd be in trouble.
Thank you.
That's good. I like the taste of the honey. That's very good.
And again, now we have a rye whiskey cocktail that's in our top 3, and you would never suspect it. So it's one of my favorite things to do is convince people of the spirits they think they hate or they're afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just how you're drinking them.
And I think, again, it's the layering. It's putting the combination together that's unusual. People haven't heard of it. They haven't tried it. Maybe would say, I'm not going to try that. That's something I wouldn't like. I did. I came in with my own thoughts of, I only like fruity and I only like sweet. But I like both of these, so I'm really surprised.
Awesome.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
to hear it.
Thank
You're very
you.
welcome.
James, the Boardroom Spirits has grown incredibly over the past 2 years. And now you have this beautiful venue. You have this beautiful room that you can have events at. Tell me a little bit about what's coming or what our viewers would be able to do here.
Well, so we already on the weekends have food trucks or local catering companies come and provide food. Starting in February, we're starting brunch on Sundays. We're looking to do all sorts of community involvement projects. As we move forward, we'll be opening a brand new patio come spring and summer. And then as far as events go, we can book events as small as 5, 10 people if you wanted to do some sort of private whiskey tasting, or you wanted to just take over a small section of the tasting room, up to 80, 100 people if you wanted to take over the entire space.
Really?
Absolutely. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to do a lot of really fun stuff. We can make customized menus. We can do like alcoholic chopped style events, all sorts of fun things, and anything you can think of that we can feasibly and legally do, we'll do our best to make it happen.
So we could bring a caterer in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we don't have our own food license, which allows a lot of freedom for the people coming in. We do have people that we definitely suggest using just because we know they're good and they're reliable. But, you know, if you wanted to just bring in a 6-foot hoagie and go to town, we have plenty of room on our bottling line in the back.
And
So
you know what I like about that is a lot of places you are committed to using their catering
Exactly.
service may not want to do that. Like you said, might want to do something different, whether it's corporate or it's a birthday party, or it's a shower or whatever. It would be fun just to be able to come in and define what you want to do in the space
Right.
instead of being told what you can do.
exactly.
Tell me about Foodie Friday. You guys have food trucks that come in here.
So we do. We have a lot of different local food trucks. So we have the Flying Dutchman, who does really great German food. We have Con Appetit, which is an award-winning food truck that's local that does all these really great deep-fried cones and then they do different sandwiches with them.
Okay.
And then we also have a local catering company that comes in and they do all sorts of different things. So this week they're doing a slider and mac and cheese bar. Last week was ramen.
Wow.
So it's
That
always
sounds
it's
good.
always something new. So as opposed to going to the same restaurant over and over, you're kind of stuck
Right.
with whatever is on their menu. We're here, just follow us on Facebook or on Instagram, and you can see what we're offering that weekend. And it's, you know, never the same 2 weeks in a row.
Interesting. So it's Friday night starting what time?
So they generally start around 5 because they do have to set up in our
Okay.
space. It can fluctuate by about 15 minutes, but
Okay.
generally around 5 goes till about 9 o'clock. So
And I've been to a few of them, and they were a lot of fun. The food was great. The atmosphere is great. And I like the availability of people being able to just kind of come in, come out casually, stay for as long as they like. The atmosphere is wonderful. You have games. You have
we
some
do have
vintage
games.
that are here.
So we have some board games, we have card games. During the summer, we'll have cornhole, and we'll have like a big stack of Jenga. So not the little guys.
Okay.
They're like these nice big tall
Alright.
towers. So a lot of fun. And as we see things that we think will be a great addition, we're just going to keep doing it.
Sounds fun.
So
Thank you.
you're very welcome. And one final drink to send you away with that I've quietly been making, but one of the things that our longtime customers and guests have been really appreciating in the last few months is our ability to do stirred whiskey cocktails. So here we have a Manhattan.
All right. These have surprised me. A little stronger.
A little stronger, yep. And again, the classic garnish as opposed to the bright red fake maraschino cherry. So
I like it. Thank you.
awesome. You're very
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank
My
you for your
pleasure.
time.
Hopefully we'll see you soon.
You will.